Hi, I'm Rachel Gray. Welcome to my cooking channel. Today we're making blueberry muffins with a streusel topping. The cake is moist and delicious, and the cinnamony, sugary, crispy topping is just the best. Just like on that Seinfeld, the top of the muffin's gonna be the best. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is preheat our oven to 425 degrees. If you're using convection, turn it down to 400. I'm gonna begin by making my streusel topping. I've got a stick blender here, and my stick blender comes with an attachment that's a little mini food processor. So I'm going to use that. Just going to combine all of my topping ingredients into this bowl. And I start with two different kinds of sugar. So I've got 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar and 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. I'm going to put in 1/3 cup of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm just going to mix that together really quickly. And this just helps break up the brown sugar. And then I'm going to add some butter. I want my butter to be cold, and I'm going to use 5 tablespoons. To help my food processor out, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this into some cubes. If you don't have a food processor, you can certainly cut your butter in with a pastry cutter. So once you've mixed it together, it kind of looks like this. You don't want to over process it and turn it into a paste. We just want to get it into a crumbly mixture. And now that that's done, we can set this aside. I'm going to take some paper liners and just line my muffin pan. Okay, so it's all lined and ready to go. And now for the batter. I'm going to start with 2.5 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar, 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Now that I have all the dry ingredients in my bowl, I'm just going to toss them together with my spoon to mix them up. To my dry ingredients, I'm going to add my wet. I'm going to start with 2 eggs and 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. So that's 1/2 stick. And to melt this, I just put it in the microwave. I put it in a bowl and I put the wrapper on for about 45 seconds for 1/2 stick. I like to do my butter that way in the microwave. That way it doesn't pop all over the microwave, and then I can just pick up the paper and take it out, and then I've just got my melted butter. And I can just go ahead and add that right in. I need 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, 1 cup of buttermilk, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Again, I like the vanilla that comes from Mexico, but if you don't have any Mexican vanilla, Nielsen and Massey makes really lovely vanilla. And now that I have my wet ingredients on top of my dry ingredients, I'm just gonna pop the yolks of the eggs and just mix it all together. Okay, so my batter's all together, and all I need to do is add my blueberries. Now I've got some fresh blueberries here. I don't want to wash all of them, because once you add water to berries, then they kind of start to break down. I'm just going to take a cup and I'm going to wash them in my strainer here. So just a little tip when you're adding berries to any sort of batter, they have a tendency to either float or sink, depending on the berry. And in order to sort of avoid that, it's best if you just take your washed berries and dust them a little bit with flour. So I'm going to just take a little spoonful of flour and sprinkle it over them, and then just give them a little toss. That way it coats the berries with a little bit of flour. And then I'm just going to fold them in. In our lined muffin tins, I'm just going to take the batter and I'm going to evenly distribute it through each cup. I've distributed the batter evenly between the cups, and they're all the way full, as you can see. So I'm just going to take the streusel topping and I'm just going to put it on top of each one. And now I'm just going to kind of push it in to each one and just try to make sure it stays on the batter. We're going to bake them in a 425 degree oven, or if you're using convection, 400 degrees, for about 17 to 20 minutes until they're golden brown. So it's been 20 minutes. I've taken my muffins out of the oven. The topping is beautifully brown, and you'll notice that they are really, really big. I've done that on purpose. With this particular muffin, I kind of feel like that Seinfeld episode where the top of the muffin is the best. It's crunchy, it's explosive. It's where the muffin breaks free of the pan and sort of does its own thing. So I've just let all the batter go. If you wanted to do smaller, regular sized muffins, you can go ahead and take this amount of batter and just divide it between 2 muffin tins or 24 muffins. When they first come out, you want to break them apart and kind of nudge them a little bit off of the pan. I use a silicone coated muffin tin. They are a little top heavy on the muffin. That way you get this beautiful crunchy top. If you wanted to do the Elaine and just pop off the top, then you're gonna have the best muffin top you've ever had. You can find this recipe and over 200 other delicious recipes on my blog, cookingwithrachel101.com. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. See you next time.